Hello, everyone. My name is Thiago Pereira Ribeiro. I'm from Brazil, and the title of my research was Effect of Amylase on Broiler Performance and Digestibility of Nutrients. I'd like to start with a question. So, why use amylase on broiler diets? The main constituent of the grains used in diets for broilers is starch, most responsible for the energy content of the diets. Its digestion is carried out by the action of amylase, which catalyzes the hydrolysis of the starch. The results with amylase are quite variable and depend on some factors, such as evaluation, ingredients present in the formulations, concentration of the enzymatic products, age of birds, and particle size, and other else. So here, in this graph, we can know that the birds increase the secretion of endogenous amylase from 14 days until around 20 days, which means that the supplementation of exogenous amylase can be a good way to improve the poultry production. We need to remember that the broilers usually just live around 40 days. In this study aimed to evaluate the effects of the supplementation of amylase on performance, weight gain, feed intake, and feed conversion, and digestibility of dry matter, crude protein, crude fat, crude energy, and apparent metabolizable energy. And apparent metabolizable energy corrected by the nitrogen balance. This trial was conducted at Western Paraná State University. We used 160 male broilers. These animals was allocated in these metabolic cages that we can see here in this picture. The animals had age from 14 days and was allocated until 24 days. We used 5 treatments. Each treatment had 8 repetitions of 4 broilers. The treatment 1 was positive control with standard nutritional levels. The formula used in this treatment was very similar with the usually used in Brazilian conditions. The treatment 2 was negative control with reduced nutritional levels. The other 3 treatments was very similar with negative control. The only difference between them was the supplementation of amylase. The treatment 3, the animals received the diet with 100 grams of amylase. The treatment 4, the animals received the diet with 200 grams. And the treatment 5, the animals received the diet with 400 grams of amylase. So here we can see in this table that the only difference between positive control and negative control was the level of metabolizable energy, which was 50 kilocalories less to the negative control. The design used was completely randomized, and the statistics used was Tukey test at 5%. So here we have the results of performance. We can note that the only parameter that we had The statistical difference was feed intake. To the parameter weight gain and feed conversion, there was no statistical difference. So here we can see in this chart that the animals that received negative control had the highest feed intake. And the animals that received the supplementation of amylase had the lowest feed intake. These results can prove that the supplementation of amylase was efficient in reduce the effects of the nutritional reduction in the negative control, the nutritional reduction in the metabolizable energy. Because the only difference between this treatment and negative control was the supplementation of amylase. So here we have the data of digestibility. We can see that all the animals that received the negative control, the digestibility was reduced to dry matter, crude protein, and crude energy. And when we look to the data of supplementation of amylase, we can know that the animals that received the supplementation had the highest digestibility of dry matter. The same happened here to the crude protein digestibility. The animals that received 100 and 200 grams of amylase had higher digestibility of crude protein than the animals of negative control. A very similar result happened here to the digestibility of the crude energy. The animals that received the supplementation of 200 grams and 400 grams of amylase had the digestibility higher to the negative control. So here, in all the situation, we also can note that the animals that received the supplementation of amylase had a digestibility similar with positive control in dry matter, crude protein, and crude energy. So here we have the results of apparent metabolizable energy and apparent metabolizable energy corrected by nitrogen. And again, the animals of the negative control reduced the apparent metabolizable energy. But the animals that received 200 grams and 400 grams increased the data of apparent metabolizable energy. And we can see that the animals that received 200 and 400 grams had similar apparent metabolizable energy if you look to the positive control. The benefit of amylase on feed intake were expected due to the better nutrient utilization and improvement in the viscosity of the digester, as usually occurs with the amylase. This fact can be proved with the data of digestibility of dry matter, crude protein, crude fat, crude energy, metabolizable energy noted in this trial. In the experimental conditions evaluated, can be noted that the negative control caused the highest feed intake and the worst digestibility of nutrients. But when the amylase was supplemented, especially the doses of 200 grams of amylase per ton, the digestibility of most of nutrients was improved as feed intake. Thank you, Poultry Science Association, by the opportunity. Thank you, University, the university where this research was conducted by the group of research of poultry nutrition, GEMADA. And also thank you, Tectron Innovation and Technology, by the donation of the amylase. Thank you all.